Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades, your favorite leftist gaming podcast. It is the middle of June. At least two of us have been playing some games, rocking at a solid 66% of all the games played for the month.
Now, in my defense, I will defend myself here.
Yo, yeah, tell us what you've been doing. What's been taking up your time? There have been 4 weeks
since the last time we did this. 2 of those weekends I was traveling. 1 to help my dad pack up his house to move, and 1 to go down and be with my people amongst the masses, watching my New York Knickerbockers not win a finals at that point in time, but play in the finals at that point in time.
Yeah.
Sitting in a sweaty bar with a dude who I just really wanted to punch, just standing like directly behind me, who was just wrong about everything he said the entire night. Was just one of the most obnoxious people I've ever listened to.
Who was he talking to? I'm curious. Was he talking
to a random dude, someone he did not know?
Okay.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they came together.
No, they did not come together.
Hilarious.
He was just talking to him because he was there. He was by himself.
That makes it even better. That makes it even better because the guy he was talking to was clearly like watching this first professional basketball game, essentially. And the guy he was talking, that Matt was annoyed by, and I was also annoyed by, had clearly just listened to one basketball podcast earlier in the day and like just was regurgitating nonsense from the talking heads that were on that podcast.
Yep. It was like being
annoying.
In a room with Patriots fans back in like 2014.
Yeah.
And then the piece de resistance of this night was that there was also a wedding who had booked that bar a year and a half in advance. So there was a wedding rehearsal going on in like a section of the bar on their own. This poor bar, air conditioning couldn't keep up. Too many people, too hot outside, sweating my ass off in there. Eating some good pizza.
Imagine you've like scheduled all these things for your wedding party and then it just turns into Escape from New York.
It very well, like the funny part is like win or lose, that's the outcome.
Yeah.
Like win or lose, if you're not fully invested, they're gonna pull a, what was it, Civil War? They're gonna be like, what type of New Yorker are you?
Did the city government pull a Philly and grease the light poles?
No.
They knew better. Because, you see, what we learned from Philly is that greasing the light poles does not inhibit people from doing things. It just makes them try harder. And then they get hurt.
Or
so if you
end up
let
eating
them do it on
shit.
a perfectly ungreased light pole, they can get up and they can get down unless they're seriously inebriated, which was only like 70% of the people at the parade, probably.
All right, so speaking of basketball and segueing into games played, Andrew, have you played any NBA The Run?
I have not yet. I want to. I have contemplated it. We did play 2K. We had a good 2K matchup when Matt was here.
Okay, quick question there. We'll get back to The Run, but did you already have that downloaded?
Yes.
Or did you have to re-download it?
No, it was already downloaded.
To play. Okay.
That's one of the perma games.
So just a quarter of your PlayStation hard drive just completely occupied at all times.
I mean, I got the 2 terabyte thing, so it's like an eighth. It's an eighth.
Okay.
It's
not like he has the newest 2K. It was what, 2K25?
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
a couple years old.
Like that's I think the one that I downloaded at one point.
Yeah,
it's still like 250
like
gigabytes.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying.
It's insane.
It's not like he's deleting it to download the next one the next year.
Yeah.
But like they'll probably get me because I guarantee you there's gonna be like a Jalen Brunson cover this year, and I'm just gonna have to buy it, and it's just gonna sit on a shelf of my shrine that I'm slowly amassing.
Try to get a steelbook version if those ever exist, and yeah,
they do.
It's just a display.
The
item.
last 2K steelbook I got was Kobe Bryant when he passed away.
I was gonna say, yeah, you got the Mambo version, right?
Yep. I didn't spend the like. I think there was like a $400 version that came with like
yes,
a custom pair of Kobe's.
There was.
Okay, so NBA The Run. What have you heard? What have you heard of it?
What I've seen is promising. I want to play it. The reason I haven't yet is, frankly, we had our gaming resolutions for the year, and I did say I wasn't going to buy a sports game this year. And I'm like trying to like,
okay.
I'm internally debating if this applies or not. And
I mean, yes, sure, it applies. Will I judge you for breaking that one? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same as if I were to buy, MLB The Show 26. Yeah. So I'm probably going to pick it up.
Yeah, it's
It
niche.
looks fun.
It's niche
It
enough.
looks fun. It looks like
Madden 250 USA America version.
America version. And if you were to say you're interested in doing some multiplayer, I am 100% down for that, because it does.
Well, here's the problem, right? Here's my issue with it, and we'd have to, we have the squad here, but the problem is it is like online only. I don't think there is a single player kind of campaign right now. I don't like that it's 3v3. That's like the one sticking point for me, is that it doesn't feel like it's capturing enough of the NBA Street feel by being more condensed.
Was Street? Wait. Wasn't NBA Street 3?
I think it was like 5v5.
I thought that was 3v3.
I thought it was like 5v5.
Street was 2v2.
There maybe were those modes, but no, the core, because you could run a campaign, like you would pick up these like, there like would be chapters, and there's like a major person, whether historical or current, that's like kind of worked into, like, dude, Dr. J was fucking dope.
Yes, Dr. J was so much fun in that game.
And he's just wearing bell bottoms and in his huge afro, and is just
Have to
like
assume
he was the best all around player of the bunch, and was so fun to play as. But yeah, like you would kind of like beat their squad, and then the leader would join yours. They each have their own like talents.
I really want those games back.
I have to assume that Victor Wembanyama is in there.
It's all current.
Yeah.
It is all
just current. It's just current for the street.
Yeah, they have the license for the run. Come on, you're combining.
Do you think that they added a post-launch update of him now having like super flagrant fouls, like just like a karate chop?
Is that the clip that I saw? Didn't he like kind of basically like a side punch to somebody in the face?
Yeah, he did.
He elbowed a dude in the throat, and then the worst offense, the one that hurt me the most, was he mushed my point guard into the ground. He just mushed him. He just threw him down. Do that to someone your own size. Pick on someone not legitimately a foot and a half shorter than you.
Yeah, no, you should only be doing that when you're a big man like that. You should only be doing it to someone of equal height, or if they're Eastern European in any classification.
There's one more caveat there.
They're harder.
Or if it's Jose Alvarado after he tried to suplex you twice.
Yeah,
fair.
But that's also because Jose Alvarado, not European, Puerto Rican.
Yeah, I just feel like I didn't hear anything about it. That's like been my major concern, is like that it released, and I don't even remember seeing reviews. I don't even remember seeing anybody post about it. So I've had a bit of concern, but I honestly haven't looked much at it. I knew it was coming out, but that was like it.
Two things there. One, what I have seen since it released has all been positive about just the gameplay and that it's fun. Two, they really did their marketing strategy was very strange, where you are right that you've not seen much since it released, and that I feel like is because
which is also weird because
that preview
the finals,
in May.
But it's also just weird because of it launched, at the height of playoffs. You would think that they would have been
NBA
doing
season,
you think they would have been doing some type of cross promotion.
No, you see,
you're right, and I didn't see much.
You see, the
from
problem
that perspective.
is all Knicks fans were abiding by James Dolan's word of abstaining from anything that would prevent our 100% effort going into our fandom. I don't know if you heard that story, but he went into the locker room before the playoffs and was like, none of you are having sex. No sex in this locker room.
Classic.
Retain
old school soccer coach move. Love it.
Yeah.
You shall not fuck.
Dude, my internet is being very strange. So I'm trying to like look at some reviews right now, but it's just kind of bugging. So if I drop in and out,
you're good for the time being
as well. Just a heads
up.
But
what I found strange is like they kind of blew their load in May. Like they did a preview with a bunch of journalists, and all of them essentially released reviews at that point, which was kind of strange.
Yeah, I heard a couple people talk about it on a podcast, but it was purely related to a preview, and it was far enough ahead of its release that like it just got then lost into the cycle, and because also Summer Games Fest and all that stuff was happening, so that was obviously
and it's also,
all the press attention,
right? And it's also, like you said, this is an online only, like it's niche enough, I think, that if you're interested, you're gonna play it, and if you're not, you're not.
No, I'm definitely interested. Do you know the price?
I think it's think it's 30 or 40.
It seems like that type of game, but like, you know,
It's certainly not full price.
how does a game that has the license afford to do that? Although apparently what I've learned is that the NBA approached them.
Yeah, this was NBA driven. It's 30. Yeah, it's $30 for the standard edition.
Yeah, I would have thought, if gun to my head, I would have guessed 40. So that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I will be probably buying that. And playing
Yeah, let's look into it after recording and see like what the multiplayer requirement is, because if just two of us can play it at a time, that's more likely than, you know, trying to get all three of us to give it a go, to fill up a squad to actually play online.
I'm pretty sure that it just fills your squad if you don't have, like, you can
just
join with friends and then
squad fill.
Mm-hmm. I'm fairly certain about that.
But we always know that also then hurts your queue times as you're trying to you either want to go in as a solo or a full squad.
Right. Yeah, agreed. And also, I mean, just 3v3 basketball with a person who you're not like on the mic with is also a little bit tougher.
Right.
If you're up against a team that's all on the same, you know, party.
I don't know. I'm absolutely curious, because they even got the same announcer from the original Street games, right?
Everything I see of it, they did. And everything I see of it excites me. Like, I really like how it looks. It looks fun. It looks clean. I wish they had, like, you know, it's just current NBA rosters, so it would be cool if they had some of that legacy stuff. Maybe that'll be added at some point.
Yeah.
Because those guys all, you know,
because I'm pretty sure you could do something. You could do something like you could play a team of like all LeBrons.
You can.
Like you
can.
Wow, could we reenact the Bill Simmons podcast?
All Wembies versus all LeBrons.
Yeah, let's look.
But
into
I'm into it. I'm into it for sure.
Let's look into it. It is so odd from, you know, my gaming trajectory, right? How I've, you know, become such a kind of anti-sports gamer, where that was such a cornerstone of different eras of my gaming history. Like, my earliest days, the NBA and NFL Street games on the PS2 were like probably my all-timers in terms of hours. Yeah, maybe I was a bigger fan.
You had your FIFA arc.
That started when I was on Xbox. But then, yes, definitely, that was definitely my most intense. But like, yeah, in my college years, those are pretty much the only games that my friends and I played. We didn't play Madden, but we played NHL and 2K. Some FIFA, but not a lot. It was mostly NHL and then 2K after that. But yeah, so like those were like kind of pretty foundational. But like, yeah, I like don't touch those at all.
I mean, that was literally the only game I played in college was 2K, and it was just building a my player, getting drafted to the Raptors consistently no matter what I did, and then just forcing them to trade DeMar DeRozan because I refused to share a roster with him.
All right, so rather than speculating on a game we haven't played and are interested in, so maybe like hopefully we'll have something to say about that in the future. What have we been playing? I know, again, Matt already preempted the show with he's played nothing. However, my main thing to talk about has got, folks, don't be worried. He's not going to be shunted to the side and put in the shame corner. He'll have plenty to contribute for my main game. So, Andrew, we'll let you go first, though.
Yeah, so you and I have I think, since we last did this, you and I have two games that we've both played, and that is Lego Batman, which I'm happy to talk about and is a lot of fun. And also James Bond First Light, which I gotta say, 2 thumbs way up for me. Like, I truly loved this game as a just in fully holistic experience. It is precisely the type of game that was made for me. It is like 15 hours. Everything about it is tight. The story's good. The gameplay itself is entertaining. The visuals are great. I have some issues with it, mostly because it just doesn't run as well on the base PS5 as it does on the PS5 Pro. But like, I know we're at that point in time where that's kind of how things are going to be.
Welcome to the end of a console life cycle. You're about to be...
For sure.
You're about to be peasant consoled.
For sure. But at the same time, I do find it annoying that I'm playing the console that was supposed to get rid of loading times to have a game that literally takes longer to load than anything I've played since like the PS2 era, maybe. It is horrendous how long the loading times are on the base.
They're not much shorter on
Really?
Pro. They're not as bad. I think I clocked a 25-second loading screen. I feel like it was more at the front. They didn't seem as bad as I was playing more. Obviously, I feel like I was also getting better at the game, so I wasn't dying in some of the intense shootouts as often as. It was a tough game for me in a certain sense of one of these first games I'm playing as I'm changing to this new schedule with this new job, and then like I was struggling more to build the muscle memory for the control scheme with playing in shorter sessions. So it just took me that little bit longer to click because in the big shootouts you do have to really kind of be fluid with taking a gun, chucking it at a guy when it's spent, charging at him, running from cover, constant weapon swapping, constant movement. You're constantly being surrounded in those areas. So like it's not a true cover shooter, right?
No.
Because you can't just hunker down.
No. Particularly because a lot of the cover the game provides can be destroyed by gunfire.
Yeah. But yeah, so it just took me a little bit longer to get over that hump. So then, I was like, I was dying less when I'd get into the full-on action sequences.
So interesting to hear that they were about the same length, because that's about, I'm being a little dramatic with complaining about this, because
no, that's noticeable. It's noticeable,
but it's
100%.
noticeable. It is noticeable, and whatever. So moving on from that, the other thing I'm curious about. This was, unfortunately, the game that I've had the most crashes on of my PS5 gaming experience.
Zero.
Okay.
So that's where the difference is. It ran beautifully for me. The loading time was the only thing that I had.
Okay.
Like,
I didn't ever have like issues in the game. It just would crash.
I had zero bugs.
Like 5 or 6 times.
0 bugs, 0 crashes.
0 bugs, 0 crashes, 7. I'm just giving you a 007 joke.
7 sexual assaults.
Credible allegations.
But this game, I don't know. So I do want to hear your thoughts about the game as a property, because I thought this was a just fantastic job at doing the Bond power fantasy. Like, it just felt so good in nearly every sequence of the game to be playing as the character. And I loved every minute. I don't, outside of those 2 issues of the load screens and the occasional crash, like, this was nearly a 10 out of 10 for me. There's not much more I want from a gaming experience than what this provided.
Yeah, I think it was definitely like kind of made in a lab for you, because it's like just Uncharted enough.
Definitely.
But doesn't lean fully in there.
No.
It is definitely baby Hitman,
Yes.
And I maybe found the opportunities for creativity to not be as extensive. It was just a lot of, your watch does everything. They tease at the semblance of like you can be creative with, you can manage your gadget loadout, but like, maybe a couple opportunities here and there are not accessible because you don't have like a smoke bomb or something, or a laser to like unlock a door without having to kick it in. But it's fine, so you're largely, the solutions are pretty straightforward throughout, but so maybe that got worn out a little bit. But I like those kind of Uncharted action sequences as well. The combat was exciting and different enough from that. Amazing melee combat just felt great, and its environmental interactions with melee are amazing. Like I didn't really do a whole lot of this. I did more throws, like body throws. I liked a lot of those more, but like one of the major boss fights in like the real first like central mission, in which in my opinion is the best mission, the hotel, the chess tournament, which I'll get back to why I thought that was good. I thought that was the most Hitman and had the most kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, but it just had the most opportunities and feelings of organic discovery of finding a path. But you get into this boss fight in the wine cellar, and I've seen people just beat the boss fights by they're just pulling bottles of wine. They're not doing any melee strikes. They're just pulling and throwing bottles of wine for the whole fight. And it's like,
That's awesome.
That's incredible. I love that.
The throwing is a pretty OP move.
Oh,
to
like
be
the
honest.
objects? Yeah.
Throwing anything, pretty OP. So
Pocket sand.
that tracks. That tracks. I'm pumped for the next one. Like I just, this was perfect. This is what I want. Like, anyone complaining about the length of this game, this is the sweet spot for me. Like, it's perfectly paced. There's nothing to complain about, and I'm happy to pay the price for it.
Sure, if this was $60, I would love that fact. If it was
Right.
I'm never going to say I want my game to be more expensive, but like
No.
the craft is there and the skill is evident. I had no problem with like price to hour ratio. I really liked it, and I liked the story. I thought it was a great Bond story. I'm like all for Patrick Gibson, the actor, to like be the next Bond.
Bond. Yeah,
that would be awesome. I think he was really talented and brought a unique air, but still captured the roguish charm of Bond. But like again, had the more still inexperience, depicting a Bond that like hasn't fallen into the cynicism.
Yes, exactly. He's not a cynic yet.
of the deep state. He is motivated by a desire to help people, and plenty of lines like your odds of success are 0.01% type of thing, or you can't save them all, James, and I can sure as hell try. Pull the earpiece out and go in, so it's that kind of the bravado of youth, but also the idealism that most Bonds don't have anymore, because they are so much part of this deep state machine that they've seen and killed so many people that
it's all meaningless.
It's all meaningless. So let's just get drunk at noon and have sex with the beautiful Bond girl and call it a day. And if she dies by the villain's hand, oh well, there will be more to come. So this was, to see him like actually care was cool, and I just thought the actor did a really good job.
Yeah, I'm with you. At this point, I actually think it's a mistake if Amazon doesn't cast him for the next Bond. Like, he really did a great job. And I like that he's in somewhat the spirit of the series, not a household name yet, but when he becomes the character. Whereas everyone else that they talk about at this point for being the role is incredibly well known.
Maybe Brosnan was probably bigger before.
I was gonna say him and the last, Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig's pretty small still. Yeah, I guess
that's like really what kind of threw him onto
Tomb
the main
Raider
stage.
is his biggest credit. Before that, maybe, to be honest. Yeah, Pierce was definitely known a little bit, but not. I mean, his first outing is like 1991. It's pre Miss Doubtfire. Like, I don't know much Pierce Brosnan before Bond.
I was a fan, and like I guess my one criticism would just be that kind of first real sandbox mission is its best in terms of those levels. They get way more linear, and the paths just kind of converge too much, that the Hitman DNA that does exist in the game is most evident in that level. And it just feels like the sense of organic discovery of here's a pathway, here's a tactic to get to this goal. Like figuring out how to get into the hotel manager's office and cracking the safe code and getting a particular key for staff access and then getting into the room. And yes, we're all converging on the same point, but getting there felt so much of my own pathway that it was really rewarding. And I think it's just because it was the biggest scope of those kind of levels. Everything else was more, we're going to direct you in this path. And
yeah,
I mean, as the stakes are rising, it has to lean more into the action,
right? Listen,
versus the espionage.
It does, and I don't disagree with you. I would say I do think in Thailand, the resort
Vietnam,
yeah. The Vietnam resort, I think, comes close to being as good as that level. But you're not wrong. I do think that's the best.
I thought it was a great setting. I just didn't think it was, because it gives you the illusion that it's bigger than it is, because you have these 3 targets you're trying to find. And I do think there are multiple pathways. I did hear of some people who there's like this one, he's like a gangster of some kind. And people are like, yeah, I hopped the fence and took out the guards and confronted him that way. Whereas I went the route of I overheard the thing. I went and found his yoga mat and was disguised and was let in and, used the charm to convince him and, went that route. But I don't know, it still felt like each of those individual paths were still pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I didn't feel.
I don't think that's an unreasonable.
It felt more signposted.
Yeah, I don't think that's an unfair critique. It definitely, that first level definitely does that Hitman light best. And then it does get kind of on the rails.
We've already, that happens probably at like it's I guess a little bit before the center point, this hotel thing. It's kind of like the real kickoff of like what you could probably consider like Act 2 if you were to consider this like a 3-act movie.
Yes.
But so we've kind of skipped ahead of it, but the best tutorial in a game I have ever experienced.
Yes.
You want to describe it for them? You want to describe it for them? It's incredible.
The training montage.
It seems so easy. How's it never been done before? But yeah, describe it for them.
Yeah, so you have the opening mission, which gives you kind of a taste for the game. And then you get recruited by MI6 to join the newly revived 00 program. And one of the best like training montages turned into a video game level I have ever seen. It probably is the best, to your point, with you just show up and it just is done in a very cinematic way, where you get a cinematic sequence and then you get to do some training and then there's another cinematic sequence, but it's so seamless.
And see, like, to me, I wouldn't even like qualify them as like separate things. Like, yes, we've seen training montages before.
Yeah.
But it's a cutscene. This is like essentially entirely playable.
Yeah.
It's simulating your basic training. And it's like
so
you're like
good.
You're doing a push-up and you have to do like a quick time event type thing, but then it's smash cut to punch this guy, learn how to parry attacks. Smash cut to you're in the gun range.
Smash cut to drive the car, which was the DB9, and I loved that. It was just the beat to shit DB9 was their training car. It was fantastic. A great piece of Bond lore and homage to just the history of the character.
But just like so good. And it's like it felt like a revelation to me as I was playing that part. I'm like, oh my God, this feels amazing. Like it's keeping you on your toes and really kind of throwing it feels like they're throwing you in the deep end because it's the pace of it is so you have to be like
rapid fire.
You're rapid firing between the different mechanics, but like each little bit is just kind of growing further and further, and then you'll go back, you'll do a push-up, then you're doing a little bit longer fight, back to doing push-ups, then you're shooting down range and you're doing the obstacle course. And it was just such a cool way to introduce all the mechanics that are going to take place throughout the game in these ways that like made you feel good as you were like kind of mastering it in these little sections. But it was, like you said, cinematic, because obviously a training montage, what's more classic than that for an action movie?
Right. But it just feels so interactive. It's fantastic work there. And the last thing I want to give a shout out with this game is the Q lab and Q segments. I just thought were perfect. I loved every part of that. It's such a great, it's just a great chance to interact with so many callbacks to the movies
and the silly era of that type of gadgetry. I love the bit where the spoilers, where Q Labs is being like raided and infiltrated, and you see Q hides in the couch.
Yes.
I
love the couch.
Bunker.
I love the couch.
It's just a quick.
The couch is great.
You look away and you'll miss it, but it was such a cool little thing that it's just like, oh my God, that is 60s era Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Borderline like Get Smart type.
Yes.
Type shit. We're like shoe phone type gadgetry.
Absolutely.
We're amazing. Really good. Yeah. It's I don't know that it's reached the heights of my number one so far of new games this year. but it's definitely in contention and probably top 3.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And like, just, I love the theme. This is a good, like, there's a lot of Bond stories where ultimately the messaging is like, yeah. The messaging of this story is fantastic. I really liked where they went with the story.
I mean, yes, it is still all like, yeah, where is the world going to go without the guiding hand of the deep state? But this is still at least
ignoring that part of it.
But this is still a much more human message. It's like, yes, when you take the human element out of the totalitarian surveillance state, we are literally living in hell. We are literally hallucinating reality at that point.
Yeah. Pre-crime.
Yes, absolutely.
Pre-crime is bad, is the message. And like, good. Yes, I agree.
Great pull. Yeah. All right, we'll talk Batman afterwards. So
yes.
Matt, let's jump in. You said I was never gonna do it. You said, because I admittedly did keep putting it off. I wasn't in the mood. I had every excuse in the book why I was gonna save it for later, push it off or whatever. But I finished 007 and had enough of a window. It looks like I'll have even longer. But I was like, okay, what am I going to play? And I tried a couple things, and I have now DNF'd 2 games this year, but I don't count the second one because I played it for 1 session and was like, this is bad. But so the first one is, and we talked about it in the last episode, is I had started to play Avowed, and I played 25 hours, and it was just as bland and boring as its worst critic had to say. But it was fine it filled some time. But then I did have a copy that I got on a deep discount of Forspoken, and I threw that in and just texted Matt and was like, yeah, this is not very good. I'm gonna play something else. So then the next day I booted up Bloodborne finally. And as of 2 days ago, I guess now at time of recording, I finished the whole game plus the DLC. My view of completion for Souls games are every named trophy boss, which I guess I technically didn't do because I didn't touch Chalice dungeons. So I didn't get what's her face, Yarnum, the Thumerian queen. That is technically, I believe, a trophy.
Yep.
A trophy boss.
And you can, relatively speaking, do that pretty easily, because the chalices that you do for that each can be done and have unique bosses in them that lead up to that. So you don't need to run through a bunch of other mishmash garbage if you play it properly.
Right, but no, I just didn't touch chalices, and largely it's because
if you touch the chalice dungeons, you would have been able to see the blueprints that they used for all of the catacombs and whatnot for Elden Ring.
That's honestly what was part of the things that was kind of disappointing to me. Because spoiler to the head of this is a From Software game. It is still better than 99.999 repeating percent of any game out there. Let that pre-state everything that I'm about to say. It is still a really, really good, fantastic game. Bloodborne, very, very good. I think it's overrated. And when you compare it to within solely From Software's output, it's the weakest probably of the games that I've played. I would put fucking Demon Souls over Bloodborne, and particularly as more important.
Yeah, more important because it was the first, but better quality.
Yeah, so if you're interested from a historic perspective, I think it's more important.
You're thinking of it purely from the remake perspective. You have to go play the original PS3 one and tell me that that's better than Bloodborne.
Okay, fair enough. You got me there. You absolutely have me there.
And I responded to you when you said this initially, that yes, you're looking at this through the realm and the lens of the future with hindsight. Now we've got Elden Ring, we've got Sekiro, we had Dark Souls 3. Armored Core is in there. It doesn't necessarily count as
the GOAT.
Yes.
The GOAT.
So, I said that you have to view Bloodborne through the lens of what From Software had done at the time, which at that point in time was Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, but it was Dark Souls 1 pre-remaster, so it was the Prepare to Die edition that, in particular, had Blighttown running at 10 frames per second. Yep.
A very bad place for that to happen.
Yep. And then Dark Souls 2. which Dark Souls 2 exists in the state that it exists in because the regular team was building Bloodborne simultaneously alongside of it.
Right.
Miyazaki was like, I'm going to make this. Hey, you guys, go make Dark Souls 2. And they're like, what makes Dark Souls fun? I know. Lots and lots of enemies in shitty areas and stuff that you can't react to. That seems really cool. We're gonna make that the primary focus of this game. And
I do think my trajectory is going to be that I'm going to become an unironic DS2 defender. I foresee that happening.
1,000%. The odds on that, so high.
Yes, I've been clocked.
If you come out and are like, Dark Souls 2 is better than Bloodborne, your nephew wearing a Sonic shirt won't be the only thing that becomes an op to me.
Yeah, I will admit that there is a non-zero chance that happens.
Like, I'm going to go through and platinum Dark Souls 2, Skull of the First Sin edition, because, like, I will. I will have all of their game catalog 100%ed and done, but it's not going to be something that I'm going to, like, that's a sickness in me that's going to do that. That's not going to be something that I'm doing out of pure pleasure.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's
and
bits
when
that
they
I
were
may
like, we're
enjoy
going to
out of
make
it,
rolling worse, and we're going to give you a stat that you have to mandatorily dump levels into to make the roll equal to Dark Souls 1. Like, brilliant.
Yeah, so it'll rather than doing a quality build, it'd just be like, yes, I'm gonna just dump all my stats into bonking, and then what would normally be my quality stat will just be adaptability instead.
Yep, just all ADP.
So I'll be okay. I think I'll be okay with that one. But yeah, I don't know. There's just parts of it to me that just, it felt...
So what I was going to say
felt like I
beforehand was when you said that it was all named bosses and trophies, is that you're missing... You need all weapons. You need all endings.
I don't have the... It's not... I don't have the platinum. I'm not even close. Because those are actual trophies. You know, you gotta have every weapon.
The weapons of Bloodborne, to me, are what makes it shine. The trick weapons, the different transformations.
Okay, the mechanics of them are cool, but it's one of my problems is how they're doled out. Well, because there's one example of, in base game Bloodborne, I saw this fact the other day. There's only like 23 weapons. And like Dark Souls, I think 3 has like 100. So it's just like your availability for playstyles is much more muted, but it also has to do with how they're doled out. You discover them very infrequently. The majority of all weapons are purchased. It's not 100%. There are some that you do find, but like by beating certain bosses and getting certain milestones, sometimes there are mini boss that will drop them. You get these badges, and they unlock different tiers of gear in the shop in the Hunter's Dream. And it happened to be the point where it's like, it was even before I actually got to Vicar Amelia. I had gotten like the holy sword. It's badge or whatever, that then I did another pass through the cathedral ward, killing the church giants, got 20,000 blood echoes, and purchased, is it Ludwig's holy blade,
the fake one,
the trick one that goes into the sheath,
a big sword.
Yeah, the best weapon in the game, in the base game.
Generally speaking, yes. I mean, there are better weapons in the base game if you're like skewing more towards like a blood build rather than like that is a pure like strength and dex weapon. Like that is the best weapon for those two, except for maybe Kirkhammer. If you,
I don't think so.
More
Kirkhammer, because if you're going pure strength, Kirkhammer has more upside. But the Holy Blade is the best quality build.
Yeah, like Ludwig's Holy Blade was my primary weapon until I went DLC. Then I got the actual Moonlight Blade, and then never looked back.
Which, like, I did too, and was underwhelmed by it because my arcane was far too low. Yeah. I was able to equip it because I planned enough to equip it.
Yeah,
but it was just my damage.
I mean, the best weapon in the DLC nerfed. Is the buzzsaw, Whirligig Blade.
Because that's actually a good weapon.
That's Valter's weapon, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's serrated, so it gets a boost against beasts, and it just the charge is
but that's a great example. That's a great example of a little bit of the mystery was starting to be lost for me with From Software. I know a lot of people have complained, particularly like the people who criticize Elden Ring and just be like, so much of the game is just asset flips. And there we're talking even before Night Rain, which is a true, asset flip, if you want to be the most cynical that you can be, that like they are notorious for reusing assets. And this was like one of the first games of theirs that I've played where I'm just really seeing that front and center. The church giants are just fucking Elden Ring trolls, There's some very slight difference, but but
the church giants were first.
No, I get it. It's more. It's not that I'm like criticizing. It's just that Bloodborne, as the order that I'm playing it, I don't know. It's just the magic of the overall works. I don't know. It's not. You're correct. It's not fair for me to hold that against Bloodborne because that came first. It's just. That's just how I'm experiencing it. So the little bit of disappointment that comes there is directed at Bloodborne when that's absolutely not fair. Where Elden Ring if anything, it should tarnish my feelings of Elden Ring, right?
But you have to look through like my lens, where like Bloodborne was my first From Software game, and that's where I got the bug.
Yeah, but it's like there's also it was blown up to be like, oh, it's one of the hardest games in the series.
I've never thought it's one of the hardest games.
It is fucking easy.
When you understand how the combat works, it's like Sekiro. You just get it and you're good. You shoot, they fall, you visceral, you charge from behind, they fall, you visceral.
Yeah, it's
how
just
often
like you get rewarded.
So how often
for being
are you using
aggressive
bullets?
because the rally mechanic. I mean, depends on your playstyle and build.
If you go full blood tinge build, like you could be basically doing a ranged build.
Yeah, there have been challenge runs that people have done where they beat the entire game with just bullets.
Where do you get the ammo? So
that's another point that like I do want to tie back into what I was talking about, like gear and weapons, about how you have to buy them. It's because the sense of exploration doesn't hit as hard because like 80 or more % of drops are just blood vials and the quicksilver bullets. It's your consumables. It's not, since none of them are rechargeable. It's not like an Estus flask scenario,
right?
Because the game is designed around the consumables for your ammo and your health items. That's the majority of what people are dropping. Are those things?
It's primarily that way because they designed it around the rally system, and they want you to be aggressive and keeping your health up and attaching runes that boost the rally potential and blood gems.
What's the rally system? I guess I never got far enough.
The way the rally system works is if you take damage, there's a window where if you do damage back, you regain that health. So it benefits you to be aggressive and stand and bang.
It incentivizes greed.
Yeah. It incentivizes stand and bang and fight back and forth.
I don't know if that's a good thing for me because I'm already too greedy. I don't need to be incentivized to be greedy.
What weapon did you start with?
Me, the cleaver, but I moved very quickly to the spear, the hunter spear, and then it was like, I used that for a little bit, I used that for the majority of that early game until I had the ability, and it only took me like one grinding run to get enough echoes to buy the Holy Blade. But
I started Hunter Axe.
But that's the thing. That's what I was just gonna say. It's like I got the spear. That's one of the rare weapons that you do find laying around. You pick that up in the sewer.
Some weapons you can pick up.
No, there are some, but just it's not a lot. And so it's that type of feeling though of, again, it's less exciting to pick an item up when it's just like, oh, okay, I got 6 more blood vials. Yes, that's helpful. That's useful for me to keep exploring the level. It just doesn't have the same, pull.
What I was about to say is, so I obviously played through Hunter Axe.
Hunter Axe is probably the most fun.
Yeah,
because I eventually went back and bought that because I was really disappointed with the trick of the spear. I'm like, this isn't as fun to play. Whereas I had seen a video of somebody using Hunter Axe, and I'm like, oh, that looks so much more fun. Yeah, that looks so much cooler. Baby. Yeah, the charged R2 is you just do a double spin. You extend the axe into a double-handed thing, and it's a good crowd control weapon.
Cool.
But my New Game Plus playthrough that I did for my second ending, I did purely with Eileen the Crow's Blades of Mercy, which that's a fun play style. It's dual daggers.
Is that the one that splits?
Yeah, it's dual daggers that turn into a short sword.
Ooh,
That's
cool.
that's a really fun. Lady Maria's
I'll-
Rakuyo is another really fun.
I'll admit to you, there's one thing I was really disappointed about is that I was really invested in following Eileen's quest line.
You messed
She's
it
a
up.
she's a really cool design character, but I messed it up because I had read somewhere when I'm like taking notes and tracking my quest lines. They're like,
Did she die in the NPC fight?
when you fight Heinrich, they're like, be careful not to hit her too much because
Yeah,
she
'cause then
will
she
aggro
turned on
you.
you. Yeah.
And she was just because she's hyper aggressive as well, and I've got a big
She
ass
will
weapon
fuck
at
you
this
up.
point. And I'm like, yo, girl, you're getting caught in all my swings. So it's like, yes, I could kill Heinrich, but like you're just getting caught in all these swings. So I had to try to be cautious and bide my time to get windows where she wasn't in his face. And right as I was like about to go last swing on Heinrich, he kills her.
Yep.
And I was so if she
there's
dies
a
there, her
trick
quest
that
is
a lot
done.
of people do if they're doing challenge runs or whatnot of Bloodborne, where because you meet her really early, and if you meet her really early, you're gonna have a really bad time if you try to purely fight her because your weapons are gonna be shit and she's gonna do so much more damage. But if you aggro her and then run out on the beams for the rafter, you can set up in a way that she will run out after you and fall off and die, and then you can pick up her weapon and her armor. Because that's I rocked
see, I had
Eileen
to
the Crow's
I had to
armor in
buy her
solidarity.
Yeah, I had to buy her armor, and it's really cool because I went with my character name was I named him Edgar, and I gave him the Edgar haircut, and I was like, oh, that's sick. I could get like the Crow outfit, and make it in my mind be like it's the Raven. So like I was like, that armor set is sick as hell.
It's
I did end up
probably the
buying
best
it,
armor
but-
set in the game, and
So
So it was still great. I'll let you ask your question, but like it's just
well, I want to hear your thoughts on the narrative of it.
I've been watching some more.
left alone.
I think it's very interesting, and I think the lore potential is very cool. I think the world building is really good. I think it's one of its weaker story deliveries. I really think it's one of their weaker story deliveries, but only by a slight margin. They're not known.
They're not great at
they're not known
delivering
for the delivery. That's not the point.
Yeah. No,
So
they're
that's
known
not
for
really a slight
That's why
against it.
Vati has a following.
Speaking of Vati, so I pre-ordered the Lorebound book that they're making through Tune and Fairweather, and that was supposed to release in Q3. And they sent me an email, and they were like, Vati's added like a whole entire like section of the book dedicated to Night Rain, and he's bringing in like even more artists and people for like more illustrations.
Cool.
So like we have
That's
to push
cool.
it to Q1 2027.
Good. That's a good reason for there to be a delay.
I was like,
Great
feel
reasoning.
free. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks
take
for
your
the heads
time.
up. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the type of delay announcement you want to hear. We're bringing you more content.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you're doing an entire section on Night Rain? Oh no, darn.
Yeah.
As
Like,
you
no,
vibrate with excitement.
I do think it's there's some fascinating potential there. Like I'm trying to understand more about like what's Gurman's deal and what is driving the great ones, but that's kind of the point is you don't know, and that's what
did
makes
you turn into
that's what
Squid?
defines that's what defines a great one is they are their machinations and their reasoning is unknowable.
So that's been my it'll never happen because I don't think it'll ever get a sequel, but if it ever got a sequel, I always wanted our great one from Bloodborne to be either a secret boss or the final boss, the one that our hunter turns into.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Plus,
That would be cool.
I just want to turn into a squid and have the doll pick me up and call me a good hunter. And
I kind of, the one bit that I'm still just like really trying to wrap my head around in terms of story is just like, what is the dream? What is the nightmare? What is the intersection of these different realities? Which is real? The waking world? How are they controlled? How are they created? These different kind of sub pockets.
so you
of reality.
understand the original sin and setup, right? The desecration of Koss's corpse and the fishing hamlet.
Well, in some degree, yes. Like I haven't fully grasped the timeline of it.
Because that's where it all truly starts. Is Koss washes
but
up on
doesn't it-
shore.
But doesn't it start before that with like the Thumerians or whatever, the ancient
Yes,
race of
that's-
people,
That's
and like
where it really starts.
it's just like
but-
the old blood that's discovered in the chalices, like that then sets up like what will become the Healing Church, and because the Healing Church gets their blood from what's her face, the daughter of the Cosmos, that old one, you know, Ariotis, so I forget how you, I forget, yeah, her from, and it's the blood creates the beast scourge and blah 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 blah. But yeah, no, it's like
so the desecration of Kos's corpse was the original sin of the hunters. That was the whole setup, and that was why Maria was guarding the way to the fishing hamlet. Was she was set up as basically like, no one should be allowed to go do what we did already. Like, we've already, that's a corpse best be left alone. She wasn't just talking about herself. That's
right. Yep.
That's a foreshadowing isn't even the right term because it's looking back in hindsight. But that's more or less the first group of hunters desecrating Kos's corpse at the fishing hamlet, creating the fishing hamlet fish people.
But it's like, what did they do to the corpse?
They drank its blood. They used that to try to, you know, stave off mortality and, you know, gain insight. That's the literal sense of insight that they keep going through of like grant us eyes.
Yep.
Implanting eyes within themselves.
That's Bergenworth's whole deal.
Yes, they take it very literally with insight being eyes inside of you to see inside.
So it's it's fascinating. I will say the story implications and what they're kind of getting at is fascinating. I just don't think it's told particularly well, and it makes for very engaging and very interesting content.
Did you have fun getting frenzied by the brain?
Is it the brain that's frenzying you, or the Winter Lanterns? Because I just dropped the brain.
When you're in the nightmare and you're just walking around and you're picking up frenzy, it's because you're in the line of sight of the brain.
Yeah, no, I just dropped the brain and I made contact, got the rune, and then just whacked it. Yeah, no,
that's one of those where like I appreciate going back with hindsight because like, dude, imagine figuring out to fucking do that the first time, being the first person who's like this one emote. I'm going to stand here and do this forever. For 40 seconds.
Because it's like you start in one direction and then it shifts, and that's when the event triggers. I definitely I grew to appreciate it more as I got further in, and the DLC I think cemented a lot of its
The DLC is probably the best part of the game.
But for different reasons. So I started off thinking that I didn't love a lot of the level design. I know I said that to you before, but I think I've come around on it and think that it's pretty good. It's just not as interesting or rewarding to figure it out as, say, like Dark Souls is.
Well, yeah, because Dark Souls is like pseudo open world interconnect, whereas
it doesn't feel
a linear.
It doesn't feel as organic. Whereas Yharnam feels like a maze designed to be a maze. Yeah. Not that this is an interesting real city that has these kind of interconnected pathways. It's like there are far too many branching paths that, yes, do end up going all the same place. So it's just like feeling like I'm uncertain that I've actually explored everything. And yes, eventually it did fall into place, and I did kind of was able to get a good enough mental map. And I was able to come back and appreciate more of that level design. I didn't like the levels as much in the DLC, but my opinions on bosses switched, whereas I found the bosses to be relatively disappointing throughout the entire...
The DLC bosses are relatively speaking peak.
With the exception of Lawrence, who we discussed
and the Living Failures.
Before. Yeah, but Living Failures, they're the same as the Celestial Emissaries. Like, they're essentially the same, and you can kind of just throw the two of them in a bin and whatever.
They threw them in there so that you could be upset. You're like, wow, that's it. And then you walk through the next door and you're like, oh my God, it's the pretty lady. And she parried me and held me softly while she killed me.
Yeah. So starting with Ludwig, I was like really frustrated at first, and it was largely because I think the arena is dog shit, and I was getting stuck on shit, and the camera was fucking me during his first phase. But then once I killed him my first time getting to second phase. I found second phase to be much better, more readable.
He's more human, and his moves and reactions feel more readable. The beast form is much more chaotic, and
it's just like the hitboxes of these swipes, and similar with Lawrence, are just far too big. because you don't have a true dodge roll, because it is
Yeah, because you're not supposed to be dodging. You're supposed to be shooting.
Yeah, because it's...
Or you use the hunter, what's it, the consumable that gives you the teleport.
The hunter's bone. Yeah, I didn't really try parrying him.
Every boss is submissive and parryable.
The big beast ones are not. The big, like, monstrosities are not parryable. Which there's a good amount of those. It did bother me that it's like, yes, the core design of this game is around gun parries, and you've made a non-insignificant number of your bosses unparryable. I'm like, that feels bad. I don't like that. Granted, I don't think those bosses are hard, so it ends up being moot.
Who are you saying is unparryable? I'm pretty positive everyone is parryable.
I don't believe Vicar Amelia is parryable. I don't believe Dark Beast Parl is parryable.
Parl might not be parryable, but Parl is also like super susceptible to just limb breaks.
Yeah, no, again, I'm not saying that they were hard. Bloodstarved Beast is parryable.
Bloodstarved is definitely parryable.
He's also not that big. I don't think Cleric Beast is parryable, but
you can parry Cleric Beast. His timing is weird.
I'm pretty sure all of those are not parryable, but you can. They're susceptible to stance breaks, and you can visceral them.
Limbs, but I'm positive you can parry most of them.
I don't think so.
Can you explain how the parry mechanic works? Because it's the gun parry, right?
It's just a gun parry. It's just it's very it's just similar into, rather than like in Dark Souls where you're hitting the shield. It's this essentially same frame types timing stuff where it's when their arm is coming down, you shoot and you parry them, and they just get knocked down and into a visceral state where you can
reach into their chest cavity and pull out their heart.
It's so funny to visceral the pig demons. Just
butthole right up the butthole. So I was going to say this when you were talking about Ludwig, but the Ludwig phase transition, still one of my favorite parts of that whole game.
Oh yeah,
watching a former hunter regain his sanity and like give one last stand on his honor and like fighting as a man and not as a beast.
My guiding moonlight. Yeah, it's a great line. So I was originally like, okay, this first experience with DLC boss, I'm like, okay, it was from this sucks to this is peak, so I was a little bit of a roller coaster with them. Then I tried fighting Lawrence and was like, okay, this is dog shit. This is like the worst designed boss in the entire game, both from an arena and just in a moveset. I mean,
you weren't getting any pushback from me. I told you he killed me more than any boss in that game.
It sucks. And it doesn't feel like good difficulty.
I hope you like when he loses his legs and just starts spewing magma everywhere.
It just starts shitting magma all over the floor that can stun lock you. Doesn't do terrible damage, but it stun locks you.
No, it'll stun you, and then you'll just be trapped when he does the charge, and the charge
or he does a tantrum.
Yeah, the tantrum charge has a unknown length of time that it can either be obnoxiously short and catch you because you space it out too far, or it just goes on for seemingly ever and just doesn't stop.
So I ended up going back and beating him, I guess, second to last. So then I get to...
I mean, luckily he is pure option. There's no requirement to beat him for the...
Yeah. So then we get to the tower. You beat the living failures, which I thought were fine. It felt like tactical in the sense of like you knock their health down far enough and they summon the meteor storm. It's just like, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see it's coming,
the
and
thing in the middle.
I stand behind the big sunflower, and it blocks it all, and I'm fine. An easy fight, but that did honestly drain.
I died to the living failures once. I can unashamedly say that.
Didn't die to them, but they got me down pretty much all the way on my vials.
I took them not very seriously, and I went in and like I got cornered by two of them and just wombo slapped.
Just slam. Yeah. Yeah, they were fine. And then Lady Maria was just such a cool fight. I was like, she was one that again was so blown up in my head that I went in like really kind of nervous and was like gonna try to do a parry.
It's like the hardest thing ever. It's just a dance. You just got to know the dance.
No, it is 100% a dance, and I just figured out instinctively of you do 1-2 hit. So I'm not using the heavy blade. I'm using the long sword part of the blade, and doing 1-2 combo. So one hit, 2 hit, immediately dodge into her. She does an attack that brings her past me, and I just repeat that. it would go 1, 2, 1, hit, dodge. She misses, hit, dodge, hit, dodge. And she didn't touch me. I literally went hitless.
There's also there's some interesting lore implications in that fight of the more you look into her as a character, she despised blood tinge and viewed it as unethical and an unworthy fighting mechanic for a true hunter. And to watch her throw that away to use blood tinge on you because you're pushing her, one of those sad moments to see her.
I expected her to be the Melania of the game, both from a kind of a thematic and from a mechanical point of view. But she ended up being, I would maybe say, a little bit on the easy side once I discovered that path.
She shares more in common with Sister Fried, but Sister Fried is a little harder because she's a triple phase fight in Dark Souls 3.
And isn't she actually 3 full health bars? Where where Maria's 3 phases, but it's no boss in the game has more than 1 health bar, which is always demoralizing when you get a new health bar. Yeah. That's always really shitty. But then Orphan of Kos lived up to everything that was said, but similarly, I beat him on my second try. I would have first tried him if I didn't go for greed. He was 1 hit. I was half health, could have rallied, but then he went into a slam tantrum, cornered me in a wall, and my greed got me.
Hit you with his placenta.
Yeah, and where if I had just backed up, healed, and gone in, I would have first tried him. But it was just this test of patience and execution that yes, I did not struggle. I did not beat my head against the wall. Literally took me 2 tries. But I felt like a master in that fight.
That's what he is. He's the final test.
Because it was, and it's not that it was, again, so challenging. It was just that I felt even the ease that I had with him, it felt rewarding because it's just I'm reading him exactly. I know the openings I'm looking for. I'm trying to bait out that jump as much as you want.
The jump is the
you want
opening.
But as much as you want to roll into that, don't risk taking the hit, risk mistiming it, taking the hit because you just then turn around, charged R2, and immediate visceral.
Yep.
And just learning the moves was just very rewarding, and it was.
He's got a nice
Maria
arena. It's nice and open.
Yeah. Maria and Kos just were okay, yes, these bosses are incredible. This was what I wished the full game was like, which you get more of that in the kind of everyday level of the game. Again, I came to appreciate more of that. I was just generally disappointed with most of the bosses. I know everybody hates the Witches of Hemwick, but I at least thought that was an interesting fight.
Yeah, it's a different mechanic. I like the idea that if you go in and then exit the fight and then remove all your insight, there's nothing they can do to hurt you, essentially.
Yeah.
It's a cool mechanic.
My other complaint about the game that does get turned after you beat Rom is once you have the world change event,
Amygdala.
Things were interesting. Dude, I thought Amygdala was a terrible fight as well because, again, first tried it. People were oh, it's so intimidating. It's so big. The attacks come from outside the screen. It's no, that's literally you hug its leg. You hug its leg and just smack that booty. And
even even better than that, if you get behind it, you'll bait out the jump slam, and if you space it right, the jump slam will put the head right in front of you, and then you charge it, and then you just knock the head down for a visceral. And then you visceral, and then you just get back behind it, and you jump slam, then you hit the head again, and you do a visceral.
That has a little bit more risk to me that I wasn't willing to do just because you can't see where it's coming from. I found the dodge easy to time, but it's too visually strange. So I would just end up rolling right back into the position that I was.
If you super blood tinge, or if you go arcane and use the hunter tools, you can blow up Amygdala because all of those just target the head, and you can just blow her up from distance.
Yeah, so I felt that was another kind of boring boss, to be honest. But I'd originally been okay, I like the vibe that it's going for, but ultimately I found it disappointing because things are too dark. Visually, it just becomes uninteresting. when everything is just darkness, when the feeling of like, you know, oppressive cosmic horror doesn't hit as hard when it just becomes the norm, right? You want to be constantly affected by the strange and the unknowable, whereas the darkness becomes a known quantity. Okay, I turn my fucking lantern on, but then once the blood moon comes and the environments change visually, it becomes more interesting. And just being forced to run through the same streets in constant darkness became too one note for me. Like, I wish it was willing to be more, to have more different environments and different aesthetic at times. I mean, even just a use of color in some scenarios would have been more appealing, but that definitely becomes more of a fact once the blood moon comes in and things are now relatively well illuminated, but it's all this red color. So that was more interesting to me. But it was an original kind of down point I had on it. I'm like, it's not scary anymore. It just is. So that was something. But it again, as the more I played it, aside from bosses being, I would think, largely a disappointment until the DLC, most of my complaints ended up not being a major issue. It beat the whole game. Again, didn't touch chalices, so come at me, I guess. But like, I beat every boss, including the DLC bosses, in 25 hours.
Which sounds about right.
Also very short from my understanding. Yeah.
25 hours, huh?
Glad I played it. But I ultimately just felt like the hype kind of killed it. The hype kind of damaged my experience a little bit. I was expecting this to be, you know, peak From Software, and I'm like, yeah, it's From Software, it's excellent. But like, I've played better From Software games.
Yes, ones that came out later.
And I say playing Sekiro before this is incredibly damaging to that game.
Yeah. I think Matt's point about just like the games that are better have all come out after that is a fair one. That's not unfair.
And so now my point becomes, I can only view those games through the historical hindsight. I can't obviously experience those types of games. So that's why I look at something like Demon's Souls to see where their gameplay in this manner found its origin. I find that more interesting. You know, the level design of Dark Souls, cementing their whole kind of design ethos, is more interesting to me.
The funny part being that's the only Dark Souls game that designs like that. Dark Souls 2, not interconnected in any meaningful manner. Dark Souls 2 also notably gives you fast travel immediately.
Dude, the fast travel in Bloodborne fucking blows. Traveling to and from the Hunter's Dream sucks so bad. That's so much time fucking wasted. Yes, the loading times aren't bad on the PS5 and on the PS5 Pro, but it's still, I'm waiting through two loading screens and have to like make sure I'm picking the right headstone to travel through, and I hated it.
What I was pointing out is Dark Souls 2 lets you warp from bonfires immediately.
Thank God I found the game relatively easy, because if I had to grind, I would have killed myself to like have to do a run, jump back to the Hunter's Dream, back to that zone. I would, oh my God, it would. The fact that you can't rest at the lamp pissed me the fuck off. Yes, I know it's not the first game to do something like that. Like, you only level up at the Nexus in Demon's Souls. You know, you need your maiden to level you up.
Majula in Dark Souls 2, or in Firelink Shrine in Dark Souls 3.
But I know it just pissed me off. It just pissed me off. But yeah, no, the game is still great. But it didn't feel as relevant as it had been built up to me. All right, so we've gone.
Sense.
I was going to say, I think we've covered.
We've gone plenty long. Let's just say Lego Batman was fucking fire. It was dope. Loved the game. It's the other like major thing that we've played.
It's peak. It's a lot of fun.
Have you finished it?
No, I've not finished it yet. We're about halfway.
Okay. We're
playing 2-player. It's a lot of fun as a 2-player game too.
Yeah, and it's a good way just to kind of take it in a chill kind of mission by mission.
Yeah, because there's nothing.
Run.
The challenge.
I mean, it's a Lego game.
Yeah.
No, but it's just like it plays well in like relatively short sessions, because like you can maybe you want to dick around in the open world, but like a mission will be like an hour, and you've made some progress, and it's fun. I loved it.
It's great.
Lego games still have the sauce, you know, proof that like that Suicide Squad killed the Justice League is a bigger travesty than that and Gotham Knights are like more tragic than we even thought of, because it's like, yes, an Arkham game is still hits so hard still.
I think my favorite almost certifiably fake rumor that pops up like once every 3 months is that like they're working on a Batman Beyond Arkham game.
That would be cool. Batman Beyond fucking slaps, but I don't know that that's happening. All right, folks. Let's see. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping. So,
news next week. Spoiler
and
alert,
unfortunately, there's
talking about a lot of really bad things.
Yes, unfortunately, there's a lot of news, and it's all bad.
All bad.
Although, maybe at the least we'll have a little bit more.
Have Steam Machine release date and
Ooh,
price.
okay, that might be either a glimmer of hope or furthering the descent into madness.
Points to reviewers have received their units and are doing
so it's like
things with them.
23rd, right? Is the date that everybody's pointing at as an embargo. So that could be good or bad.
What if they just came out and they're like, "Yo, Steam Machine $500," and then just left? Boom.
You were right. You say the people who were laughed at, the copium addicts were right all along. That's never going to happen. But
no, it's going to be $1,200, and
I constantly am like pushing my own margin of what can I justify buying, because again, I'll do you one better. Is getting old enough. I'm gonna buy it regardless. Just come try mine out before you bite the bullet. Well, but here's the problem: is like no matter what price it is, if you want to get it, you gotta get it right away, because it's either gonna sell out or the price is gonna increase a month later.
Have you seen the stuff about the controller where they were sending out to people that the controller reservations are getting pushed super far?
Yeah, I did see that. I'm glad I got mine.
That's why I'm going to buy the Steam Machine, because it's going to come with a controller, and then I'm going to scalp the controller.
Yeah, so I was going to say maybe one thing will be a little bit more interesting is maybe we'll have more concrete things to talk about at the end of the month, because everything has all been like technically speculation.
It's legitimate news next week.
Yeah, so buckle up, soldier. Shit's looking bleaker than ever. And it's all like that's been the refrain for almost every news episode, right? For the past 2 years or more. Like, shit's never been worse. And then we are immediately cursed with an even worse slate of news later. So be excited for that, folks. But I started playing Persona 3 yesterday.
Ooh.
Played a decent bit more today. Not as much as I would have liked. But I had the day off today.
The first Star Ocean remake, super cheap.
There's a remake of the first game or Second Story?
Yeah, First Departure R that came out in like 2019.
I played Second Story R. I thought it was pretty good. All right, we'll play more games and talk about them next month. We're going to get you to play something, buddy. All right, we will talk to you later.
I'll get there. I'm trying to find the right thing to pull me in.
I get it.
I've got Millennium Tales sitting there. That might be one of them.
Okay.
I might go sicko mode, and I might just play like the entire Zelda franchise from the NES through.
I mean, that would be pretty goated. Okay.
Yeah, that includes Zelda 2, which might make me sad again.
Might break you. Okay. All right. For the 5th time now, that'll do it for this week. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.